Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Quick question before we dive in. Have you ever slammed on your brakes before you even consciously realized a car was in front of you? Or woken up at 3 a.m. for no reason, only to smell something weird in the air? Here's the wild part. Oh, that wasn't luck. That was your brain running invisible protection software in the background 24/7. And you didn't even get a notification. Today, we're going deep into the neuroscience of self preservation. These aren't things you decide to do. These are things your brain does for you, often without a single conscious thought. And some of them are going to genuinely blow your mind. So, buckle up. Here are 10 ways your brain protects you without you even realizing it. 1. The threat radar. Your amygdala sees danger before you do. Let's start with the heavy hitter. Deep inside your brain sits a tiny almond shaped structure called the amygdala. And this little guy is basically your brain's 911 operator, always on duty, always scanning. Here's the thing most people don't realize: the amygdala processes threatening information before the rational, thinking part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, even gets the memo. Scientists call this the low road versus the high road of fear processing. The high road is the long route. Sensory information travels to your cortex, gets analyzed logically, and then you respond. That takes about 300 to 500 milliseconds. But the low road, it bypasses all that. The amygdala gets a fast, rough signal directly from your senses and fires off a fear response in under 100 milliseconds. Before you see the snake on the trail, your body is already jumping back. That's why you flinch before you think. That's why your heart pounds the second you walk into a dark parking garage. Even when your brain is telling you, you're fine, calm down. Your amygdala already voted, and it voted danger. This isn't a flaw, it's a feature. In the wild, a 200 millisecond head start could be the difference between life and death. Your brain is literally saving your life faster than your consciousness can keep up. 2. Disgust, the emotion that keeps you from eating poison. You know that feeling when you open a container in the back of your fridge and something hits your nostrils that makes you physically recoil? Like full body nope? That's disgust. And it is one of your brain's most ancient and underappreciated defense systems. Researchers believe disgust evolved primarily as a behavioral immune system. Before antibiotics, before germ theory, before we even understood what bacteria was, humans had to avoid rotting food, contaminated water, and infected individuals. And disgust is what made that happen instinctively. The brain's insular cortex, or the insula, plays a huge role here. It processes sensory signals and tags certain smells, textures, sights, and even ideas as contaminants. And it does it fast, with very little conscious deliberation. Here's where it gets fascinating. Disgust doesn't just protect you from physical pathogens. Research shows the same neural pathways get activated when people experience moral disgust, like seeing someone cheat, lie, or behave cruelly. Psychologists think this may be the brain co-opting an ancient survival tool for social living. In other words, that gut-wrenching feeling when you witness an injustice. Your brain literally borrowed the don't eat the rotten meat circuit to help you navigate society. You didn't decide that. It just happened. 3. Ichtwerps. Sleep paralysis. Your brain's anti-action movie filter. Okay, this one sounds scary, but stick with me, because once you understand it, it's actually kind of amazing. Every night during REM sleep, your dream stage, your brain sends a signal to your spinal cord that essentially paralyzes your voluntary muscles. You literally cannot move your arms or legs while you're dreaming. Why? Because you're acting out your dreams in your head, and your brain is smart enough to know it shouldn't let that become a real-world event. This protective mechanism is called REM atonia, and it exists specifically to stop you from sleepwalking off a cliff or punching your partner because you dreamed you were fighting a bear. When it malfunctions, when people can move during REM sleep, they have what's called REM sleep behavior disorder. And yes, people do physically act out their dreams and can seriously hurt themselves or others. Now, sleep paralysis, as most people experience it, that eerie moment of waking up but not being able to move, happens when you regain consciousness before atonia has fully lifted. It's your protection system just taking a second to clock off. So the next time you wake up and feel frozen for a few seconds, don't panic. That's your brain's safety lock. It's doing its job, just maybe a little too well. 4. The stress response, your body's emergency mode. We all know stress is bad, right? Well, kind of. The chronic kind is, absolutely, but the acute stress response, that thing your body does when you're suddenly in a high stakes situation, that is one of the most sophisticated survival systems ever evolved. The moment your brain perceives a serious threat, the hypothalamus, your brain's command center, activates the HPA axis and triggers a cascade of hormones. Adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol pour into your bloodstream. In literal seconds, your body shifts into emergency mode. Your heart rate spikes to pump more blood to your muscles. Your pupils dilate to let in more light. Your digestion pauses. Because digesting lunch is not a priority when a car is running a red light. Your pain threshold actually increases. Soldiers and athletes routinely report not feeling injuries during intense moments. Your senses sharpen and your reaction times improve. This is the fight or flight response, and your brain coordinates the whole thing without you ever consciously deciding to do any of it. There's even research showing that acute stress can boost memory encoding for the threatening event, making you better at recognizing that specific danger in the future. Your brain is literally updating its threat database in real time. The problem is modern life keeps triggering this system for things like emails and traffic jams. But the system itself? Absolute genius engineering. 5 and eats. Pain. The gift. Nobody wants. I know. Nobody likes pain. But hear me out on this one. Because there are people in the world who cannot feel pain at all, and their lives are extraordinarily dangerous. It's called congenital insensitivity to pain, or CIP, and people who have it bite through their tongues as babies, break bones without realizing it, and develop serious internal injuries they can't detect. Most people with CIP have significantly shortened lifespans. Pain is your brain's damage alarm system. When tissue is injured, specialized nerve cells called nociceptors send signals up to your spinal cord and brain, which processes them and generates the sensation of pain to force you to stop what you're doing and pay attention. And here's something wild. Your brain actually modulates how much pain you feel based on context. That's why paper cuts can feel agonizing, and yet soldiers have run across battlefields with broken limbs. The brain is adjusting the volume on the pain signal based on what you need to survive right now. Your brain also uses anticipatory pain, that wince you do when you're about to touch something hot, to protect you even before damage occurs. It's learning from past injuries and preloading the warning. Pain is annoying. Pain is awful, but it is your brain screaming, hey, stop that, you're going to break something. And without it, we'd all be in serious, serious trouble. 6. The negativity bias, your internal threat detector on overdrive. Have you ever noticed how one bad comment on social media can completely ruin your day, even if there were 50 positive ones? Or how you remember a single criticism from years ago but forget thousands of compliments? That's not weakness. That's your brain's negativity bias. And it's a survival feature. Neuroscience research shows that negative stimuli activate the brain more broadly and intensely than equivalent positive stimuli. Your amygdala, your anterior cingulate cortex, even your prefrontal cortex respond more powerfully to bad news than good news of the same magnitude. The reason traces back to ancestral survival. The cost of missing a threat was death. The cost of overreacting to a threat was just wasted energy. So, natural selection favored brains that paid extra attention to the negative. Think of it this way. If you ignored a rustle in the bushes and it was a lion, you were done. If you freaked out about a rustle in the bushes and it was just the wind, you were fine but looked silly. Your brain defaulted to better safe than sorry for millions of years. The modern downside is that this wiring makes us prone to anxiety, catastrophizing, and dwelling on negatives. But the underlying mechanism, heightened attention to potential threats, is pure protection. Your brain is just scanning the bushes at all times. 7. Your gut feelings. The second brain. You actually have trust your gut turns out to be remarkably literal advice. Your gut, your gastrointestinal tract, contains over 500 million neurons and communicates with your brain via the vagus nerve in what scientists call the gut brain axis. It's so sophisticated and independent that researchers have nicknamed it the second brain or the enteric nervous system. Now, here's where the protection angle comes in. Research suggests that your gut can detect and respond to emotional and environmental stress signals sometimes before your conscious mind processes them. That churning feeling when something feels off, that uneasy stomach in a bad social situation. Your gut is sending signals up to your brain, not just the other way around. It's contributing to what you experience as intuition, unease, or a hunch. On top of that, the gut's neurological system manages digestion semi autonomously, protecting you from pathogens through gut associated lymphoid tissue and regulates inflammation. It's running a whole parallel operation to keep you safe, largely without any input from your conscious mind. You literally have a second protective intelligence running in your abdomen, which is either awesome or mildly unsettling, probably both. 8. Neo. Emotional numbing, your brain's psychological blast shield. This one is a bit heavier, but it's important. When people experience extreme trauma, grief, or overwhelming stress, the brain has a remarkable and often misunderstood response. It dials down emotional intensity. Things feel unreal. Emotions become muted or detached. You function, but you feel like you're watching yourself from a distance. This is called dissociation or emotional numbing, and while it can become problematic if it persists, in the acute phase, it is your brain's psychological shock absorber. What's happening neurologically is complex but broadly. The prefrontal cortex, your rational brain, begins inhibiting the amygdala's emotional response, and your brain may downregulate stress hormones to prevent you from being overwhelmed to the point of complete dysfunction. In layman's terms, your brain is saying, "This is too much all at once. I'm going to reduce the intensity of what you're feeling so you can keep functioning until we can process this safely." Emergency responders, soldiers, surgeons, people who have to perform under extreme emotional circumstances often report this kind of detachment in the moment. And many psychologists believe it's adaptive in the short term, creating psychological distance from an unbearable experience until the mind is in a safer position to process it. Your brain is essentially buying you time, quietly, without asking permission. 9. Immune behavior. Link sickness. Behavior is a brain-driven strategy. Ever notice how when you're sick, you don't just have physical symptoms, you also feel exhausted, sad, foggy, unmotivated, and want to do nothing but lie in bed? Here's something most people never learn. That's not just being sick. That's your brain deliberately making you do that. When your immune system detects an infection, it releases signaling molecules called cytokines. These cytokines don't just stay in your body, they communicate directly with your brain. And your brain responds by triggering what scientists call sickness behavior. Fatigue, social withdrawal, loss of appetite, low mood, cognitive dulling. Why? Because your brain is redirecting all of your resources, your energy, your attention, your behavioral motivation toward the immune response. Lying still means you're not burning calories running around. Social withdrawal means you're not spreading infection. Loss of appetite may mean pathogens get less iron, which they need to multiply. Your brain is actively making you miserable as a strategic health intervention. So next time someone tells you to push through being sick, feel free to reply that your brain is literally engineering your lethargy as an immune optimization strategy. And then take a nap, guilt-free. 10. Pattern recognition, the predictive engine running 24/7. Here's the big one, the one that ties all of these together. Your brain is fundamentally a prediction machine. It is constantly, relentlessly building models of the world around you and using past experience to predict what happens next. And it does this to protect you from being caught off guard. This is called predictive processing. a framework that's become enormously influential in neuroscience. The idea is that your brain doesn't passively receive sensory input and react. Instead, it generates predictions about what it expects to experience and only processes inputs when reality violates those predictions. In practical terms, when you walk through your home in the dark, you don't consciously navigate every step. Your brain has a model of your house and guides you. When something's out of place, a chair moved, a smell that doesn't fit, your brain flags it instantly and your attention snaps toward it. This is why you can drive home on autopilot and not remember the journey. Your brain matched expectations to reality so well that nothing needed flagging. It's also why a new sound at night jolts you awake. Your predictive model didn't account for it, and your brain treats that mismatch as a potential threat until proven otherwise. Your brain is running simulations of what's about to happen constantly and organizing your perception and behavior around those predictions, all to keep you one step ahead of anything that could hurt you. It's the most sophisticated protection system ever designed, and you've been using it your whole life without knowing it. So there you have it. 10 ways your brain has been quietly, relentlessly working to keep you alive, safe, and functioning. From microsecond threat detection to engineering your sick days, from tuning your emotional volume to running a full second brain in your gut. The truth is, consciousness, the you that feels like it's in charge, is really just the tip of the iceberg. Underneath it, there is an ancient, extraordinarily complex machine that has been refined over millions of years of evolution. And its primary job is to make sure you survive. Next time you flinch, feel a gut feeling, or find yourself inexplicably exhausted on the couch when you're sick, give your brain a little credit. It knew before you did. If you found this video interesting, do me a favor and hit that like button. It genuinely helps get this content in front of more people. And if you want more deep dives into the science of how your mind actually works, subscribe. We post every week. Drop a comment below. I want to know, which of these surprised you the most? For me, it's still the gut-brain axis. 500 million neurons in your stomach? Insane. I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget subscribe, like the video, and turn on notifications.